Inflammatory Breast Cancer Foundation presents IBC Facts and Fallacies, What Your Doctor May Not Know. In today's world, the internet is used by so many. Research is at its fingertips of just about anyone on subjects they may need to know more about. But the challenges of knowing the truth versus fiction about health issues are a major concern for the public and the medical community. With all the hurdles many women face when they may have the symptoms of IBC, and the doctors who seemingly disregard their pleas to rule it out, this show will attempt to educate everyone and help differentiate between what really are facts and what are fallacies. And now, your host for tonight's show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our show. Well, October is almost over, and Sunday night the little goblins will be at the door, dressed up as who knows what. I can't wait to see these little ones this year. And in honor of the end of October, I have a few words I'd like to start things off with. Are you dead tired of pink ribbons? I am. Every time I see the pink ribbon or pink ribbons and someone asks me, do you want to donate to breast cancer? I feel like screaming. All during the month of October, I consistently ask the person, or better yet, the store, where does all this money go? On one occasion, after calling a large chain store's head office and asking that question, I was told my question was offensive. Huh? They stated, we always donate to breast cancer. I stated, but that wasn't the question. Where does it actually go? Who's the recipient? Nor has that question ever been answered when I have pushed the subject. Along with the cans carrying the pink ribbons where you can put your money in or add an amount to your bill in the name of breast cancer, there are the advertisements. Everywhere I look, everywhere I go, they ask me to donate. I actually heard a priceless piece from a doctor today that along a main highway in Maryland, there were pink porta potties. Thank you, Dr. Reddy. I don't understand, but I guess someone's heart was in the right place. In our particular situation with inflammatory breast cancer, IBC, it's never brought up. Even the biggest breast cancer groups and all their television advertising does not breathe a word that there could possibly be another breast cancer that all their money for mammograms cannot detect. Television specials during October talk about the statistics and how the, quote, fight goes on. But so far, I have not seen the massive dollars spent on advertising the worst case scenario, a diagnosis of IBC. In our population of women fighting IBC, we all know the statistics, unfortunately. We all know that the lack of knowledge about the symptoms of IBC and the medical community, which so many are still misdiagnosing it, they are causing early deaths. There's no nice way to put that. Where are the donations for the doctors and scientists that work tirelessly on finding the cause first and the treatment for IBC that could follow? There are many times I feel like taking my imaginary soapbox that I talk about all the time and building a real soapbox. Bring it to a store near me and stand and beg for money. I won't do that, of course, but it's very tempting. When women have to literally fight doctor after doctor to even get a diagnosis, we all have a problem. All the pink ribbons in the world are not going to change this, and they're not changing it. When will they, the largest breast cancer organizations, wake up to the reality we are just treading water still? Millions of dollars are given away during October by well-meaning people who, like myself in the years before I knew about IBC, give without thinking. Where does all this money go? Our foundation gives away our literature and educational material. We are all volunteers who donate our time to stand in front of any group that will listen and talk about this deadly form of breast cancer. And yes, we fight against pink. The reason? IBC isn't pink, it's red. It comes up overnight swelling. It is a different entity to regular breast cancer. And yes, we are still fighting against the pink current of people who blindly donate to what? Ask the next time you're asked to donate. Where does it go? Where does all the money go? Who are the recipients to all these donations? How much is overhead and how much actually goes towards advertisements that all breast cancer cannot be detected by a mammogram? The scientists and researchers that have devoted their lives to inflammatory breast cancer spend valuable time writing grants to the very institutions that supposedly get the money that people give. Sadly, too many grants are turned down, and this I know for a fact. But there are those researchers that push forward and continue to ask for funding. And when they get a pittance from the October pink ribbon money pit, I'd like to call it, we all win. One of those scientists is with us tonight, Frederica Robertson, PhD, from the University of Texas, MD Anderson Cancer Center, who has devoted her career to making a difference. Hey, Freddie, hi, and welcome to our show. I'm going to let you tell our audience how you became involved with this elusive disease and what is new on the horizon. But first, I'm going to tell everybody that they can ask you questions if they'd like to. You call into our toll-free number, which is 1-888-572-0141. And briefly, before they cut us off and tell us we have to go to a break, Freddie, how are you this evening?
I'm good. Thanks for the opportunity.
So what's new in the, no, not what's new. How did you get involved in this?
Well, I trained at Roswell Park Memorial Institute, and when I was a postdoctoral fellow, I had the privilege to work with Charles Heidelberger, who was responsible for synthesizing and developing the drug 5-fluorouracil, which for IBC patients, the FEC or FAC, the F in that is 5-fluorouracil. And he also happened to develop Xeloda. And so if you have metastatic disease, Xeloda is a common drug of choice for IBC patients and also patients with locally advanced breast cancer with metastatic disease. So I am trained in experimental therapeutics, but had started working on the molecular aspects of metastatic breast cancer in 1996. My laboratory was responsible for looking at a molecule called COX-2, which if you know anything about non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like Advil, there are studies showing that inhibition of this COX-2 gene suppresses inflammation, which is associated with metastasis, with blood vessel development to feed tumors. So I worked on that and worked on breast cancer metastasis, but when I was given the opportunity to come to MD Anderson, Dr. Cristofanilli and I started collaborating, and that's really when I started focusing on inflammatory breast cancer. It's very strange in terms of thinking about how life unfolds. I got married in 2002 to a man, David Baker, who's an IBC advocate, and unfortunately his first wife passed away from inflammatory breast cancer in 3 months, from diagnosis to passing away. And so he is a very dedicated advocate to IBC, and so together we have really formed an alliance to allow me to work on this disease, and he's also contributed to making graphics for us, to making pamphlets for education and outreach for IBC, for the Morgan Welch Clinic. And so we have a multidisciplinary team, which most of your listeners know at MD Anderson, and now with Dr. Cristofanelli moving to Fox Chase, Massimo and I continue to collaborate, which is a very exciting opportunity to expand the multi-site clinical trials that will go on, and also to allow us access to more IBC patients to determine what this disease is, because we really don't understand. We're just beginning to understand what the molecular basis is for this. So that's a little bit about me.
And we're going to hear the rest of the story, but we're going to take a quick break for a moment, and we'll be right back.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with IBC Facts and Fallacies after a few short messages.